Welcome to Pasadena Sports Legends. I'm your host, Derek Danson. On this show, we highlight Pasadena and Altadena athletes born, raised, or coached here. We celebrate them. Today, we have a young man, I'm going to call him, with us. I call him a young man because he's always been a few years my junior. But my goodness, wait till you hear this story. Miles Morris is our guest today. And let's start this way, Miles. Where were you born?
I was born in Pacoima, California.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brothers, sisters, mother, dad, what was that like?
Three brothers, three older brothers, one younger sister. Raised in San Fernando, Pacoima area. My three brothers went to San Fernando High School until we moved to Pasadena in 1966, where my brother Billy attended John Muir for his last couple of years of high school. And that's pretty much the beginning of it.
So you were about how old then?
I'm 63 now.
Yeah, and then when you guys moved here, how old were you?
Oh boy, let's see. When we moved here, I was somewhere around 6 years old, 7 years old.
All right.
The place that we're in right now, currently, my mom bought that house in 1969. November 1969. I was 9 years old, about the age my son is right now.
What schools did you attend?
So Washington, and then after Washington, we attended Wilson Junior High School. It was about the time that the busing started. I would say that might have been around 73, somewhere around 1973. So instead of attending the junior high at Washington, they bused us out to Wilson, and we attended junior high at Wilson, and then from Wilson, we went to Pasadena High School.
The neighborhood, what was that like for you?
Oh boy. What an incredible neighborhood, an incredible place to grow up. Had a store right across the street from us, a neighborhood store.
For the people watching who may be able to relate, what was the name of the store?
Penn Street store. It was just off of Garfield, I would say just south of Garfield on Penn Street. And ran, owned, and operated by John King, Big John King. Everybody knew John. Wonderful, wonderful king in our village. And if my mom didn't have money and needed something, she could walk right out the back door 50 feet away, man. He'd take care of her and she'd come right back home. It was that kind of neighborhood, you know. I had my buddies over on Elizabeth. Down on the south side, I had Mark Sheard and Johnny Walker, Eddie Davis. On the north end, we had the Kitchen Brothers and the Rileys. You know, everybody knows Dennis Haywood. We had Dennis, Vincent Riley. Oh man, it was just, it was a wonderful neighborhood, man. Wonderful place and time to grow as a young person. I'm so grateful for that neighborhood. I really am. Yeah. A lot going on around there. Right up the street we have, probably one of the biggest narcotic dealers, I guess you could say, if you want to go there. But I don't, I'm not going to go there. But it was rough. It could be rough on one end, and it could be joyous on another. You just had to be part of the neighborhood to kind of understand the dynamics of it, and you knew where to go, and you knew where not to go. We lived back in the time when the street lights came on, and I'm on Elizabeth Street, and my mom yells out the back door. I could hear her. It's time to get home.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, if the street lights came on, you were late. So you got to get on home when the street lights came on. So that's just how it was. It's how our village was ran.
Yeah. Baseball, huh?
Oh boy.
And before you go there, and maybe I asked you, was there any other interest, or maybe I heard you comment that you played a litany of sports.
I did.
different ones. Okay.
I did. I think we all, did at a young age, and it helped the growth and the maturity of becoming the baseball player that I became. It helped me in a real way. Played football, played the contact sport. Didn't really like, getting hit, but loved putting the gear on and loved playing with my friends. So if that's what I had to do to be with my guys, then that's what I had to do. Until it just kind of wore me out. After a certain age, you get a little worn out about it. But and then we played basketball. One of the few great guys in our neighborhood that played on championship level teams, and Mark Sheard and Charles Dorsey. Those are two of my closest friends coming up. So I had dynamic basketball players around, and you couldn't be sleeping with those guys because they'd take advantage of you, And I had a basketball court in my backyard. I'd come home sometimes, man, and Charles and I, were really close. Before I'd get home from baseball practice, this dude would have the neighborhood in my backyard playing hoop, man. And I'd walk up the street, I got the whole 10th Street, Elizabeth in my backyard playing hoop, man. I ain't even made it home yet. But that's how close Charles and I was. And my mom, she would obviously allow it. He was like a son to her too. So that was just part of our growing up. And again, it molded and it made us who we are today.
Mm-hmm. You did some Little League, some Babe Ruth. That got you maybe rolling as far as baseball is concerned.
Absolutely.
Did you always know it was going to be baseball?
Derek, yeah, I kind of did at a young age. My brothers played, and I followed them. I just wanted to be just like them. So in our days in Pacoima, I was their bat boy on their Pacoima Pony League team. And, I got to watch them and admire them. And, from there, I just kind of fell in love with it. And I knew what I wanted to do just by following them. So, yeah, I did know at a young age, Derek. I did.
So 1978, you played on an undefeated baseball team. What was that about? What was that like?
Fond memories. Fond memories. Dynamic ball club. We had a dynamic team. We had a pitching staff anchored by Eric Cieslak and Mike Serrano. They carried the load for us. And then we had another guy, Darwin Thomas. Darwin was like our long reliever, but all those guys got it done, man. They were excellent ball players, excellent pitchers. Let's see, our outfield consisted of, I want to say Ellis Kitchen and left. I played left as well. Bo Hines was in center. I think Bo Hines played a little shortstop too. O'Hill and was in right. That was his spot. I think Tommy was mainly in center. Tommy Wallace. Like I said, we had some studs, man. Tommy Wallace, Orsino Hill, John Reed, Johnny Walker anchored third base, and you couldn't touch Johnny, man. It's just we had a ball club, and we knew we could play. We were all seasoned in the same leagues coming up, the Little League, the Babe Ruth, and at that time we were entering senior Babe Ruth, or about to enter senior Babe Ruth at 16. So yeah, we were seasoned. We were ready to go. Man, yeah. Well prepared.
I see why y'all just did some devastating things to the opposition. So this undefeated team, I understand that was actually the junior varsity team.
It was.
JV team.
It was.
How were the other teams around you? The varsity, the soft rush?
That's a heck of a question right there. It's ironic you ask about the varsity because towards the end of the year, we were well known and at the varsity level and at the JV level, so the guys knew who was coming next year. And so Coach Griffiths had us play the varsity in a little practice game. And they were actually beating us at one time 3-1, and it got to be about the fourth inning, and we got a couple guys on and we started rallying, and we tied the game up at 3-3, nobody out, and we had a couple more guys on base, and then suddenly Coach Griff said, "Well, it's a little dark, guys. I think we need to shut it down right here," and I guess the varsity was probably glad they didn't, but our guys was like, "No, Coach, come on now, why?" So that was a memory I have, and that will forever be there because we thought we could beat them. Yeah, we thought we were a confident bunch, and I love Coach Griff. Don't get me wrong, I love Coach Griff. I got a really soft spot in my heart for him, especially with the things he's going through now. I understand he's going through some health issues, Parkinson's, I believe, or whatnot. But he was a great coach for us as well. I don't think he was as dynamic as Scribb was, and I'm just trying to keep it 100. But he was a good coach, and he was a good fit for us. He was more by the book, and Scribb was more of a free, let us be us type of coach. He trusted us and trusted in our abilities, and we just performed well for him. Our team had a lot of swag, man, as they say today. We had a lot of swag. We were a bit arrogant.
Well,
we were a bit arrogant. We knew where we stood, and after about 5-6 games, we're 6-0. Our reputation kind of preceded us when we came into schools, and so we had teams in fear before we stepped off the bus, man. That's the reality of it, and so that's how it was. We'd get off the bus and we'd get in a group and we'd walk in as a whole, equipment bag, freshmen or underclassmen, and that team was really all underclassmen. We had three juniors on that team. I want to say it was Richard Williams, Bo Hines, and Rupert Garcia. Those were the guys right there, the upperclassmen. Yeah, and the rest of the guys were all sophomores, myself included. Yeah. And after that season, I can remember Coach Griff brought Orsino and John Reed up for the playoffs because they had made it to the playoffs, and those were our heavy hitters right there that year. They both performed exceptionally well, especially John Reed. I think John Reed was the MVP on that ball club. Yeah, dynamic team, man. One I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
No doubt. Yes, indeed. So, as far as games are concerned, plays that maybe stick out for you, rallies that brought y'all back, what comes to mind?
Wow, Alhambra. Yeah, we were having a tough time against Alhambra. Our record was in jeopardy, and I think at that time we were about 14 or 15-0. So we had already started thinking, okay, we want to be undefeated. And so I think we were playing them, and I actually was on first base, and I got picked. And I got picked at a bad time when I believe we were tied, and I'm probably, if I can think back, knowing this my style of play, we're tied. I'm going to try to steal second. I don't really care how many outs it is, and sometimes, getting caught up in those games, man, emotionally, you can do some things that aren't so smart. You know what I mean? Trying to steal bases with 2 outs when you should be more or less trying to get in a scoring position or something like that. I want to take the game over in my own hands, and that could be detrimental for your ball club sometimes. So, and I've been there, I've done that. But yeah, I remember getting picked and being super disappointed, like, man, let my guys down, And next inning, John Reed or O came up and probably bang one out the yard, man, and ended the game, and it was over. But when I look back on that, you realize it was just kind of you get caught up in the moment. It was a silly mistake, ones that you can't make when you get to the next level, So,
yeah, you live and learn.
Yeah, that one I remember getting picked, man. That just blew me out the water right there.
I could see where it would.
Yeah.
Great recovery, though, like you said.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. So you're the MVP?
Not of that team.
Okay.
The 1980 team, I was the MVP on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Who was MVP on that team?
John Reed. I remember John Reed being the MVP on that team. He was our number 4 guy, our slugger, left-handed bat. Yeah, and what was special about that part of the lineup is that O'Hill hit 3rd, and he hit 4th, and they were both lefties. So, if it was and generally, it's a lot of right-handed guys. So when they faced those 2 guys, man, it was just, okay,
yeah.
This is the moment right here. And they were responsible for a lot of our runs, man. Those 2 cats had incredible years that year.
I see.
So did Tommy Wallace, but Tommy had an incredible year every year. So, and J-Dub, like I said, man, I can go back there and just reminisce, and great ball club, man.
Yeah,
just a great ball club.
Man, I see. Yeah. I think you might have touched base on this, but inquiry minds want to know, what about challenges? If there are any separate from those tight times in game situations, anything off the field that you guys had to deal with during the season?
We didn't have a lot of challenges, and we didn't have a lot of resistance from these teams, man. That ball club was special. It was special. It was very special, man, and we felt like we were unbeatable. We went through Alhambra, San Gabriel, John Muir. They weren't even, and we got friends over there, and they're our rival, but they didn't challenge us that year. And the team that challenged us, that gave us the hard games, was really, I want to say, Alhambra and Arcadia. Yeah.
Traditionally.
Yeah. And Arcadia's, to me, Arcadia is more of a rival in baseball than Muir was. We despised each other. We didn't like Arcadia, and they didn't like us. And we actually liked it like that. So
I was gonna say that made for some great baseball, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I gained a lot of friends in college from Arcadia. So, after we got together I played with some guys at Glendale College, and we became friends, and we talk about that stuff sometimes. Just learn to respect each other's time at their schools, and develop friendships. And,
yeah.
It is what it is.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's life. Live right.
Absolutely.
For sure. So, you all were among, one of the first teams to be inducted into the Pasadena Sports Hall of Fame.
What an honor. What an honor. I'm so proud to be part of that. Like I said, this was a dynamic team that was just full of great guys and great ball players, and it was incredible. But Derek, if I may, I'm not going to change the subject. When we came on campus in '76, there was a lot going on campus. We didn't know that we had a national championship track team. We got a basketball team that wins CIF and beats Long Beach Poly and Verbum Day. And so when you're thrust into something like that, and you're doing what you're doing, that's a high bar. But we're willing to get out here and do what it takes to reach the bar that you guys set. And my hat is off to you, man, and our basketball squad, and Coach Turgeon, and how he developed those guys. And so, when we entered center quad, man, in the morning off that bus, and you see 6'8" guys, 7 foot Keith Fauché, and they reading the paper. It just it does something to you. It's like these guys. I want to be like that. I want to be a champion like these guys. So they set the standard, man, and it was just easy for us to fall in it. You guys set the standard with the track team, and funny because track used to go on with baseball kind of around the same time. I can remember having a game against someone, and the track meet was so packed up there, we couldn't get up there because we had a ball game. I can remember in between innings, coaches said, let's run up to the top and see what's going on with the track meet. Both teams ran up to the top. And so it's just stuff like that, man. Being a part of that student body in the mid-'70s and up to the '80s, it was electric, man. I mean, it was something different that I'm sure, the average high school student doesn't get to experience. And we did. So thank you, my brother, for setting that high standard and setting that high bar for us to reach it.
Man, when you know how that works, that goes through generations. You know what I'm saying? Going back, 50, 60 years, actually, as far as Dina's concerned.
Yes.
So, we're just riding the crest and, handed it off like we used to do in them relays.
Oh, my goodness.
You're talking about.
And it was a joy watching that. Man, such a joy. It was that kind of stuff that just made you think, hey, listen, I'm a Bulldog, man. This is how we do it here. This is how they do it, and I want to live up too. I want to make a name for myself too. And we turned that baseball program into something special.
Man, you did.
Yeah.
You did just what you intended to do.
Yeah, well, we had help. So thank you again, brother.
Oh, man, you're welcome. It's a blessing to have guys right up behind you like you and them fellas did.
Oh, my goodness. Thanks for paving the way, my brother. That was it right there.
For sure. So after high school, college?
Yeah, so it's funny. I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I was going to go to junior college. I wasn't recruited at the time by any big name schools, not that I knew of. So I chose the JUCO route, and Alan spent some time at Glendale College, and then he spent some time at PCC, and I think ultimately he got drafted out of PCC. But prior to that, he knew the coach at Glendale, and he would encourage me. He thought it was a nice fit for me. He knew Petta at PCC, and he knew Coots, and he preached Coots to me, and another guy, Michael Dennis. Michael Dennis also told me that he recommended Glendale. He said he thought Glendale would be a good fit for me. So I kind of went on their word, and I didn't know Coach Petta from PCC, and never come to recruit me. I mean, I hear later on through the grapevine that they expected me to come over there. I guess they thought I didn't have anywhere to go. So they expected me to come over to PCC, and they expected Tommy to come there too. They knew we were good friends and we'd probably go to the same school. And we both ended up in Glendale College.
Yeah.
Took the word of Alan and my man Michael Dennis, and they were right. It was a good fit for us. From there, I played 2 years. Had a great first year. I was all state. All Western State Conference, first team, and I had the Milwaukee Brewers courting me at the time, and the Kansas City Royals. So I decided to go on and play my second year out. Actually, the Kansas City Royals that year had invited me to a tryout with Tommy Wallace. They said, hey, they invited me. They said, bring your friend, Tommy Wallace. Okay, so it was at Northview High. We go over to Northview High off the 605 right there, El Monte. And there was one guy out there already, and he was swinging, big dude. And come to find out, it's myself, Tommy, and the other guy is Cecil Fielder. Incredible. I was in Atlanta this past few months ago, and I got to see him, and we talked and chopped it up, man. It was
Had to be.
That was great, man, because the guy's baseball royalty now. You know what I mean? He's a Hall of Famer, so it was nice talking to him and chopping it up with him. But I say that to say they signed Tommy, kind of kicked me to the curb. They had me taking ground balls at second base, and I'm not a second baseman, but I'll do what y'all asked me to do. You know what I mean? So took some ground balls at second base. Wasn't real comfortable, and I guess I didn't look comfortable. And they ended up signing Tommy and Cecil, obviously, in both first rounders. And I played my second year out, '83, with Glendale College, and got the MVP that year, and then eventually signed at Southern. I was actually assigned a letter of intent to go to Oklahoma State, and actually Cal State Northridge first, and then Oklahoma State came calling. I signed theirs. I signed two, and about 2 weeks before I was going to leave, the coach from Southern University came calling, and it was only because one of those summer league games down at PCC that their guys mentioned me. I had a pretty good game against them, and they, asked me where I was attending school, and I said, you know what, man, I got this and this, but I'm still kind of up in the air. I'm not really sure. And you need to hear from Southern, man. They called Coach Boyd. Coach Boyd later called me, sent me some literature. 2 weeks later, I was on a plane going to Baton Rouge. I made the decision to attend an HBCU, and honestly, I'm so glad I made that decision, man. I got to live that HBCU life and made some wonderful friends and played for some legendary coaches. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Man, so you mentioned June Wallace.
That's my guy.
I understand. Now, I got a friend who saw you and him on the streets about the time we were talking about right now.
Okay.
And y'all driving these luxury automobiles.
Goodness.
And
There's a story behind that.
He couldn't figure it out, so we gotta, help this young man out.
Sure. So, what happened was after the tryout, and he signed with the Royals. We ride down to Alhambra, and back then Valley Boulevard, they had a bunch of used car lots and whatnot. So we just ride, kind of admiring the cars, and we pull into a lot, and he sees a Benz that he likes. And so I'm just, I'm on the other side wandering, just looking, and I see one I'd like, but I'm like, check this one out. And he's like, oh yeah, that one's hot too. And we're looking at him, and we're talking, and he's like, man, it would be cool if I could just get both of them. I'm like, Tommy, just get your car, man. Worry about yourself, man. Do your thing. But little did I know, he he made a deal with the guy to get both the cars with his signing bonus. I think he signed for about $50,000 back in 1980. It was a lot of money. But the two cars between them, I think it cost about $7,500 maybe, which was kind of a lot of money at the time. I think
it's relative.
The one he wanted was $35,000, and the one I wanted was about $6,000. The one I wanted was $25,000 or $3,000, something like that. So he made a deal with the guy, gets both the cars. We drive the cars off the lot. Whenever I talk to Tommy, man, that's just a moment in life, where, oh boy, it's just wow. It was wow. It was a wow. He's a true friend, man. We don't talk as much as we probably should, and we're still close as ever. I'm trying to raise my family. He's raising his family down in Pomona. But when we need to get together, we get together, man. But that's one of my ace boom coons right there, man. He did that for me, man, and I'll never let him live that down. I'll never let him live that down. That's the story behind it. It's funny. I'll tell you one more little story.
Yes.
So we got him, and we decided to ride out to Hollywood, out to Fat Burgers out there on La Cienega, the original one back in the day. And so we're riding out there, and we meet a couple females, you know, actually prior to us driving out there. So I have my friend Bradley Stewart in the car with me, the brother of Big George Stewart. We were close, we were really tight. And got two females in the car, and Tommy's got his lady in the car, and there's somebody riding with someone else riding with him. So we were 4 deep, both cars were 4 deep. We had 4 guys, 4 girls. We ride out there, get us some burgers, and Brad's drinking in the back of my car, right? The Mercedes, it had a little flip cup holder. It was nice, wood grain, it was nice. Bradley's back there drinking, and he's not feeling so well, and decides to drink some milk. All right, so we ride back home, we're riding back home, and then all of a sudden, Brad just throws up in the back of my car, man. Oh my God, Brad. Oh my God, it was just, that was one of those moments, man, where, you know, Bradley's, you know, God rest his soul, that was one of my closest partners right there, man. And he threw up in my car, man.
That's real life.
Oh, that's real life stuff, man. And he had a female next to him, so you know he got it on her. Come, what are you doing, Brad? Yeah, but that's I know I went off base.
No, I'm glad you shared that. You
One
know
of
what I'm
those
saying?
crazy stories.
Brad's looking down on this and smiling.
Yeah. He's like, man, you had to tell that story, huh? Yeah, that's my boy. He know I'm gonna keep telling that story until I'm gone.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, my man, this has been great. Everything that we imagined it could be, this interview
I'm glad.
with you.
I'm
yeah.
glad. Well, thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
Anybody
you're
want to talk about that old baseball team, man? I'm just, I'm glad to share anything I can share with you. Been a long time, you know, I don't remember everything, but I do remember that group of guys and how dynamic that team really was, and Coach Scribb made it all happen.
Yeah.
And I'm forever grateful for that, for those times in that moment.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I'm grateful for you for, you know, being able to let me share it with you.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
It's so important. Yeah. You got one coming up, you know what I'm saying? You'll be able to look at this and every other individual, you know what I'm saying, with half an interest.
Yes.
And how Dina lit it up.
Oh my goodness.
For years and
goodness.
years and years, decades.
You know, that being on that campus, like I was telling you, the student body, being a part of that student body, going to attend those championship basketball games at Long Beach or at the Long Beach Arena, beating Verbum Day, I think they were #1 in the country at the time, and we ended up beating them. And Dale has that slam dunk. Remember that on the Lionel Marquette? Oh my God, that lit that place up. Yeah. And so it's moments like that, man, that help mold you as a young student athlete. And that's who I was, you know, that's all I was, dreaming like anybody else. Yeah.
There's the individual, Richard Franklin.
Oh my. You're going way back. Big Daddy Productions. That's my guy. He's actually, so the first time I met Skip Robinson was through Richard. Richard and Skip are cousins. They're like first cousins. Yeah, and so I didn't know Skip or who he was or anything, but Skip knew me from hanging out with Richard. And so, here recently, I'd see Skip down at the PCC Hall of Fame deal or whatever they did for, and he points at me, I'm looking at him. He's like, remember you? I said, yeah, I was Big Richard's boy. He's like, yeah, that's right. We chop it up or whatnot. But, oh boy, Richard Franklin, oh my goodness. I grew up with Richard, literally. I went to daycare center, the Raymond and Penn Street, the little daycare center on Raymond and Penn. 6, 7 years old, I was there with Richard. Wow. And we grew up together in that daycare at Washington Elementary. He was a year ahead of me, so he went to the junior high when we were bused out to Wilson. And, he was a year ahead of me, so they were in high school, 79, he graduated 79. But Richard, they called him the Splasher. Do you remember that the jacket? He used to wear that jacket called the Splasher. Hey man, he was
proud. Different.
Oh my goodness! And then he had that big bag of candy all the time. You remember that? He used to sell candy on a regular basis, big Adidas bag. And don't be trying to take Richard's candy, man, because you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. That was my guy, man. I miss Richard so much. He lived right over here. It's not Rio Grande. What's the other? Ladera. He lived right over here on Ladera for many years. Yeah. This whole area, man, it's just, we all blessed to still be here, because it went from, 69, my mom got in that house for $100. She had a black realtor, Danny Goree. I'll never forget this lady, black lady. Kept in touch with us for years. Let my mom in that house for $100. Come on. $100, man. It was worth, I think she bought it for $15,000. Obviously, price of the properties went up. It's like 1.2. Incredible. Yeah. So, I'm so grateful to still be here. And listen, I've been all over the country. Baseball has taken me to some wonderful states, man. I've probably been to 25, 26 different states in the Union. And I say that to say that there's no place like California, no place like home. So, when the Lord placed us here, man, and said this was going to be our home for the next 50 or 60 years, and you look back on it, you're just so grateful. You're so grateful. I mean, the weather, the upbringing, the high school, the moments, man, it's just, I'm so glad that, we were raised here in this area, man. It's just, I can't express that more, it's just a wonderful place to be.
I understand that 1,000%. Yes, indeed.
Richard was my guy, though.
As far as your baseball career is concerned, how far did it go? When did it end?
Oh, boy. I'll say, so when I left Southern, and it was a little controversy going on at the time. I had actually met a female at Southern who I eventually married. And I was still playing for, at the time, I didn't get drafted, but the Dodgers were interested in me, and I was playing on their scout team at Cal State Northridge. And so I would go, it wasn't far, Pasadena back and forth, and I'd play with them. Played with them for about 2 years, and we ended up going to the National Baseball Congress, NBC World Series in Wichita, Kansas. And it was 32 teams. We ended up placing 6th that year. We had a pretty good team. And then I at that time, unfortunately for me, I'm having these marital issues. My marriage just kind of failed from Jump Street, to be quite frank. It was a foolish decision, as a young person. I guess we all make them. But, some of them can be a little more painful than others, you might say. And that was a painful mistake that I made. I learned a lot from it. But, and I would never blame that on, my baseball career failing. That was all me. You know what I mean? I was going through something, and it just didn't work out for me. But I would never, blame it on the fact that, it was a problem with my marriage or whatever. And ended up getting a divorce, and just kind of played in a couple of leagues after that, and just kind of faded away. I started coaching after that a little bit, but when you still have baseball in you, you still have that spirit of playing in you. It's hard to kind of relinquish yourself to coaching. You know what I mean? You still think you got something in the tank to to offer a team or something, but that's pretty much kind of how it ended for me.
Understood.
But I love baseball. I always will. Working with my son right now. We'll see where that leads. But he's doing so much more. Like I was saying, it's different for him. We don't have the village that I had and the kids to play with, on a daily basis. So it's really different. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna make it do what it do, man. We're gonna keep striving and, continue to raise my son in a manner that I feel is good for him. Hope he's well-rounded. We'll touch on a little bit of everything, you know what I mean? And yeah, we'll just, but that's what happened with my baseball career. Anyway, I'm sorry. God bless you, my brother.
God bless you, my brother.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Yes, indeed.